Welcome back to Logitech. Before you going to buy any PC part example like processor or GPU, you might be wondering to see the performance difference between the GPU itself and also the processor. You might see many reviewers to check the average performance of the CPU or the GPU benchmark for the games. However, the performance difference that they show in the average performance difference is actually misleading. When you count the difference in percentage by the average performance difference, it's actually wrong. And that mistake is repeating over and over again into the next benchmark and next benchmark and next benchmark. And people will think that that is the real average performance difference. Let's see an example here. GPU 1 has 10 FPS in game 1 and 100 FPS in game 2. GPU 2 has 20 FPS in game 1 and 120 FPS in game 2. Average FPS for GPU 1 is 55 FPS, while GPU 2 is 70 FPS. So the difference by average FPS is 27%. If look from percentage difference in each game, game 1 has 100% performance difference, while game 2 is 20%. This calculation makes significant difference average FPS than the previous calculation. The difference now is 60%. This should be the correct calculation to average performance difference between two GPU, since it will average performance difference for each game. Now let's look at real gaming performance comparison. I will use my previous 3050 versus 3060 benchmark. Control has 41% performance difference. Watch Dogs Legion has 39% difference. Assassin's Creed Valhalla has 37% difference. Far Cry 5 38% difference. Cyberpunk has 46% difference. Forza Horizon 4 just 28% difference. Gears 5 is 35% difference. Horizon Zero Dawn 40% difference. Shadow of Tomb Raider is 36% difference. And last is Witcher 3 41% difference. When we average the FPS and calculate the percentage difference, the difference between 3050 and 3060 is 37%. Compare with averaging the percentage difference for each game, it has around 1.2% margin difference. The average performance difference in 10 games for these two GPUs should be 38%. Since we should calculate each game difference performance, then average it. Okay, now let's look at 3 games average performance difference. If you average the FPS and then calculate the difference, it will have close to 34% performance difference. If compared with averaging the percentage difference, the gap becomes 4% and 4% margin is a huge difference. This is where most of reviewers make a big mistake when averaging performance difference. Okay, from the test result from my own benchmark, we know that averaging performance between the averaging percentage of each game and you averaging FPS, then you count the percentage difference has different result. The correct one should be count the percentage difference for each game and then you average the percentage difference. You can see like the NG Tech doing, he showed the percentage difference in each game. So when you sum up the FPS, then you average it, it will be different with you count the different one by one and you average the percentage different from that. Like my example in 3 games, Watch Dogs, Cyberpunk, and Forza Horizon, the difference between you sum up the FPS, then you average, after that you count the percentage difference, compared to you count the percentage difference in each game and then you average it, it has about 4% difference. And also, example, if you see average FPS maybe for your GPU is 60 FPS, it doesn't mean that your GPU can play maybe around 60 FPS. A game example like CSGO, you can play 200 FPS, then in the Cyberpunk, you can only play around 20 to 30 FPS, which is much different than the average. So I think all reviewers should change this average performance comparison for the averaging FPS and count the percentage to count percentage one by one then average it. Okay, I think that's all from me. If you like this video, please press like and subscribe. And don't forget to check the link and description below. Thanks for watching.